Hi, I'm Veronica and welcome to Jersey City Pilates. Today's class is a high energy Pilates class, perfect for if you're looking to really start sweating and get a great workout. You should also finish feeling great as well. This class has an excellent rock and roll playlist, so feel free to sing along, make sure you're breathing, and if you feel like you need to slow down, please, by all means, go at your own pace, and also I will give modifications throughout the class, and we'll get started. Thanks. Okay, we will get started. Come to the back of your mat. Just standing at the end of your mat. Just lift your arms up overhead. Make sure you have room all around you for your arms. Move your fingers, thumbs one on top of the other, and just reach up towards the ceiling. Take a nice step. Maybe you want to wait for half an hour. You can wait for 4 hours. And then just lean up and over towards the right. And then up towards the center and over towards the left. And bring your feet about as wide as your mat. Come back to the center. And then just round down over your legs. And sort of lean over towards one side. Take your head out. And then lean over towards the other side. Take your head out again. And then grab on opposite elbow with opposite hand. And just swing back and forth from one side to the other. Get your feet planted into the floor. And then bend your knees so that you come into as low of a squat as is comfortable for you. Trying to keep those heels on the ground. And then place your hands on the floor and lift your hips up. And then bend back down into that squat. And then lift your hips. Think about lifting from the sitting bones. And then lower back down. And then lift your hips up. Let your head drop. Make sure your neck is nice and relaxed. And then bend back down and lift. More like this. Last one. While it's here, walk your feet in a little narrower. And then walk yourself out into a plank. And lift your hips up. Pedal your feet one and then the other, just stretching out through the back of each leg. Pressing down through your hands. And then bring your right foot in between your hands. And then lower your left knee down. Feel your knee and heel draw towards each other. And then lift yourself all the way up. Feel a little connection in the front of your body. Shift your weight forward and get a stretch through that left hip flexor and thigh. Then lower your hands down. Roll the left leg under. And then switch sides. So left leg now in between the hands. Lower the right knee down. And then lift. Feel your heel on the left side draw towards your right knee. And then come all the way back down. Curl your toes under. And walk yourself all the way back to the mat. Stand yourself up one vertebrae at a time. And then stand more or less in the middle of your mat. Excuse me. And then find your connection between your ribs and your hips, standing up nice and tall. Draw your abdominals in by bringing your ribs towards your hips, and then hinge at the right hip and bring your right leg up into it. And then just tap that toe down in front of you. Try not to shift your weight over to the left side too much. Let your gaze be straight ahead or at the floor. And then this time bring it up. Hinge around your left hip and reach your right leg back behind you. And then bring it back up in front of you. Or just like that. Hinge around the left foot and reach to the front of your right thigh. Extend the leg. And then bring it back up. Last one. Sit square. And then plant that right foot down. Again, find your connection between the ribs and the hips. Draw up towards your ribs, a little length through the back. And then bring your left leg to the table. 3 more just hips are level. Your left hip is not tightening up. Pause with that leg up and swivel around the right leg. And one. 3 more. starting to feel your thighs working, the back of your legs working, and your abdominals starting to wake up last. And roll all the way down one more time. Plant your hands on the floor, and then just let your butt find the ground. And then come up more or less towards the front half-ish of your mat. Grab on behind your thighs and stack your spine up nice and tall. And then find that spot where you're sitting nice and upright, your ribs are connected towards your hips, and extend your arms long. And then you're just gonna rotate up and over towards the left side. Just a tiny rotation, keeping your chest square in between your arms. Back to the center, and over to the left, or the other side. And come back to the center. One more time to the left. Feel like you're kind of wringing out your stomach here as you twist. And over to the left. Good, now bring your hands behind your head. And then rotate, growing nice and tall as you twist. And if it feels better to have your arms out long in front of you, just do that. Once more on each side. The center. Last one. Getting up nice and tall, extend the legs long, and then you're gonna start to roll back one vertebrae at a time, drawing your hip bones up towards your ribs. Your mat and legs will come with you. Reach the arms overhead here, link thumbs, and then just reach up towards the wall behind you. And then let your shoulders and calf ribs find the floor. Press down with your hands, roll yourself up halfway, and then just lower all the way back down. Really finding that connection in the front of your body between your ribs and your hips before we start moving a little quicker. Last time, pause. Reach long through your heels, draw your ribs towards your hips, and you're going to start to roll all the way up over your legs, one vertebrae at a time, and then slowly roll yourself all the way back down. Again, legs will come with you. Try to put your sacrum on the ground first, and overhead, and then back up. And if at any point you need a modification, you need to slow down, you're feeling crazy and want to speed up, go for it. Go at your own pace and do what works for you. I will give modifications throughout the class. Here you can bend your knees if you need. Pause at the top. Grab on behind your thighs, lift your legs up off the floor. Find this nice position where you can balance, and you're gonna extend your arms, extend your legs, bend it in. Extend your arms and legs, you can roll back a little, and then come forward. Roll back and forward. Think about opening up through the front of your thighs a little quicker. Bring on. Last one, bring everything in. Your tiny little ball, round your back, roll back. Pause at the top. Let your sacrum roll all the way on the floor. Your shoulder and, or neck and head rather, do not touch the ground. 2 more. Last one. Pause at the top, extend your legs long, roll back. And your roll-ups go as slowly or as quickly as feels good for you. Make sure your chin is not pressing into your chest as you're rolling. Up and down. You're going to pause at the top. Lift those legs up. Extend the arms, extend the legs, bring it in. And if this is too much, you can have your hands behind your thighs and just roll back and sit up tall a little. Whatever works for you. 4 more. Last one. Grab on, rolling like a little ball. Think about pressing your shins into your hands into your shins. Pause that second at the top. Last one. Extend your legs long, roll back. And just notice if you're starting to stretch over your legs a little bit more. Or if you're still asleep like Julia. Pause here at the top, hands to the legs, extend, and bring it in. And don't worry about keeping your legs super low. Ribs are still drawing in towards your hips. Make sure that your abdominals are not pressing up towards the ceiling. Last one. Hands onto the shins, rolling like a ball. Use your breath to help get you back up. Last one. And then grab on behind the thighs, roll all the way down. Keep your left leg planted on the floor. You're in a nice neutral pelvis. Feel your back ribs press into the mat, and lift your right leg up towards the ceiling. A bend in it, or it can be straight, and you're just gonna reach long through our leg to the front of the hip, lower it down, and then lift it back up. You can also point as you lift and flex as you lower if you'd like to add a little fun. Your call. 4 more. And if you'd like to make this more challenging, or maybe it feels better on your back, just bring your hands behind your head and you're gonna stay curled up. I'm gonna do this with my head down. Last time, pause with your leg at the top, and now you're gonna do circles. So down, out, and around, just on that right leg. Left leg stays totally still, and your hips are also still. You can bring your hands onto them to make sure you're not rocking from one side to the other. Last one, reverse the direction. Make sure your tailbone is nice and heavy. If you're having a hard time keeping that, draw your ribs towards your hips, press your low back into the floor. Last one, glue your heels together. Bring your hands behind your head, curl up, extend your legs long, and bend them back in. A little frog, make this with your back, or with your feet on the floor. Our low back is pressing into the mat here. 2 more. Last one, lower the right leg, left leg lifts and lowers. Head up or down, your choice. Four more. Last one, lift and pause with the leg, circle. Using your arms to help stabilize your obliques and your hips. And reverse your circle. 3 more. 2. Last one, glue those heels together. Hands come behind your head if you'd like, lift up. The low back presses into the mat, breathing as you extend. Actually, breathing all the time. Exhale as you extend. 4 more. Really glue those heels together. Feel your legs zipping up, pelvic floor engaged. Last one, lower the left leg. Lift and lower the right. For 4. 3. 2. Last one, circle it for 4. 3. 2. 1. Reverse. 2. Last one, switch sides. Left leg lifts and lowers for 6. 4. 3. 2. Last one, circle that leg. 2. Last one, reverse. 3. Last one. All right, plant your feet on the floor. Have your head be totally flat on the ground. Move your hair out of the way if you need. And then externally rotate your upper arms, staying wide through the collarbone. Press your feet into the floor. Curl your tailbone up 1 vertebrae at a time, coming into a bridge. Shoulder blades stay on the floor. And then draw your ribs toward your hips and peel yourself all the way back down. It should feel nice. Trying to articulate through your spine, stretching out through the low back, and then ending in neutral, and then drawing those hips back towards your ribs and curling all the way up. Use your arms to press into the floor. And if you want a challenge, you can bring your arms up towards the ceiling, keeping them nice and stable. But wherever your arms are, about opening up through the front of your hip, pause at the top, and then drop your hips, lift them up. So come into neutral and then curl them under to lift. Think about drawing the sitting bones up the backs of your legs towards your knees or down, I guess. 4 more. 3, 2, last one. Keep it lifted and then peel yourself all the way back down. And then back to those articulated bridges. Think about your heels drawing towards your shoulders, activating the whole back of your leg. Come back down. Take a look at your knees, make sure that they're not falling out to the side here. And then pause at the top. You're gonna lift your right heel and then put it down. Lift your left heel, put it down. So the toes stay on the floor. You're still in a 2-footed bridge. Just lifting that heel. Think about pressing your ankle forward slightly as you lift the heel. 3 more deep sides. Last one, lower that left heel, both feet down, twist through the hip. So drop the right, lift the left. Your ribs stay nice and quiet, just rotating through the hip. Last one. And then lift up through the hips, feel yourself all the way back down, 1 vertebrae at a time. Feel yourself all the way up. Going back to lifting 1 heel at a time. And if you'd like here, you're gonna lift both heels, leave them lifted, and then pull through the hip. So neutral spine, curl it under. Toes and feet, so draw back towards the butt. 2 more. Last one, lower the heels, peel yourself all the way down, 1 vertebrae at a time. Bring your knees into your chest. Rock back and forth from one side to the other. And then you're gonna roll over onto your stomach. Have your hands right underneath your shoulders and your nose grazing on the floor. Your legs can be about as wide as the mat and externally rotated if you'd like. Draw your shoulders just down away from your ears, but don't like forcibly pull them down. And then press into the mat and then lift yourself up into a tiny little extension here. Press your pubic bone into the floor, your hip bones into the floor, and then draw your ribs towards your hips so your abdominals have the sensation of lifting away from the floor. And then lower back down. And then lift up, think about length from the crown of your head. Arms are light on the ground. Going back down. And up. Your glutes and hamstrings should not be squeezed, but they should definitely be aware that they're doing something, especially after all of that breathing. 2 more. Only coming as high as is comfortable for you. And if you feel this in your low back, up less high. Last one, pause here, lift the arms. Reach them back behind you. You're in this weird little rocket position. And then just start to pulse the arms up. You can either do palms up or pinky side of your hand up, whichever is more comfortable for your shoulders. 7. Two. Last one, keep the arms where they are, lower down 3/4 of the way, and then reach the finger towards the toes and lift. 4 more. Last one, squeeze the triceps against your arms and again pulse. Neck is nice and long, gaze at the ground underneath you. Last one, bend the arms, lower your head down, rest your forehead on your hands. Reach long through the toes of that right leg and then float your leg off the floor. Your thigh may not lift off the mat. It's totally fine. Mine doesn't, generally. Think about opening up to the front of that hip and just reaching long, lifting your leg from the back of your leg. 2 more. Last one. Extend your arms out in front of you. Press your hands into the floor. Lift yourself up into a little mini extension here. Right arm, left leg lifts. Opposite side. Alternating here in your little swan. Swimming rather. And lifting from the back of that leg. And off your shoulder on your back. The side of your ribs should be doing work to lift that arm. 3 more to each side. Last one. Bend the arms, lower the head. Bend the knees, bring the heels together. Press your hips into the floor, squeeze the heels together. You can either just keep squeezing the heels together, or you can lift the knees, the thighs. They're not really lifting very much. Squeeze and lift. Lift and lower down again, or you're just squeezing. Either one is efficient and effective. 4 more. 3. Last one, extend the legs, keep them lifted. And the arms overhead, keep them lifted or back by your side. And then you're gonna start to swim with everything in the air for 8. 5, 4, 3. Last one, press your hands into the floor and then pull back into a child's pose. Bring your knees nice and wide. Take a second and reach your arms over to the left. Reach back through the right sitting bone. And then over to the right side. Reach back through the opposite sitting bone. And then come onto all 4. Hands right underneath your shoulders. Knees right underneath your hips. Make sure that your arms are not hyperextended. Have a soft little bend in them, and then draw your hips up towards your ribs, round your spine up towards the ceiling. And then uncurl. Coming into extension. And curl the tailbone under, round up. Go at your own pace here. This should feel nice. But when you're in that extension, still think about lifting your abdominals away from the floor in that your ribs are still connected toward your hips and you're not falling down. You want to stay supported. Last one. Find your nice neutral spine here. Gentle reaching nice and long. Extend your left leg back behind you, right arm. Lift them up and tap them down. Again, lifting from the back of your leg and then your back or that arm. Leave it lifted, round it in underneath you. And extend. Round it. 4 more. Last one, leave it out. Open your arm and leg out to the side of the diagonal like you're a little X and bring it back to the center. To the side, back in. Arm and leg stay the same height. 2 more. Last one. Bring it in underneath you. Right leg, left arm. Lift. Tap it down. Keeping square through the hips. Abdominals stay lifted. Pause here, round them. Again, thinking about opening through the front of that hip as you're extending your leg. Your leg doesn't need to come higher than your body, but just keeping that hip straight. Pause out. Into your little X, back in. Neck is long, last one. Lower your arm and leg underneath you. Curl yourself up towards the ceiling, round your spine. Your extension. Find your neutral position. Lift your arm on the right side in line with your shoulder, reach it out, come down. Move yourself as square as possible. 3 more. 2. Last one. Lower that arm down, switch sides. 5 more. 4. 3. Last one. Come back onto your knees and feet. Ow. Shake your wrists out for a second. We are going to do the next song on all fours again as well. And when you're ready, come back into that bear plank, or into your all fours rather. So here it's super important that you're not hyperextending your arms even more than I was a second ago. Tuck your toes under and lift your knees to be about an inch off the floor. And then from here, you're just gonna point your right toe, lift it off the ground, lower it back down. Switch sides. And look. Switch. And look. And you can also do this on your forearms if it's too much for your wrists. Ribs are continually grounding towards your hips, neck and nice and long. More to each side. Last one. Drop your knees. And then again, you're gonna come back into that bear plank here. You're gonna try to lift one arm up, and then the other. One arm, and then the other. You can also do this with your hands on the ground, or your knees rather, on the ground. Alternating from one side to the other. You are still working. 2 more to each side. Last one. Again, lower your knees, take a rest whenever you need. All of this can be done with your knees down, but if your knees are up, you're gonna extend your right leg back, and left leg, and then walk it in. So walking out and in. You can also make this tiny, go with the range of motion that feels comfortably challenging for you. 2 more. Last one. And then drop the knees. When you're ready, lift them back up again. And then you're gonna shift your weight back towards your heels and then back over your arms into your plank. And then back over the knees and up. Trying to keep those knees at the same height the whole time. This is a nice short song. 3 more. 2. Last one. Drop the knees. And then you're gonna lift them up one more time and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, last one. Drop your knees, shake out your wrists, and then come long ways on your mat. Extend your right leg out, and then reach your right arm down towards your foot. And side bend up and over, but make sure you're not collapsing. Think about length on both sides. And then come all the way up. Lower that right knee. Bring the left leg up. And same thing, coming up and over. Keeping your torso square to the front. And then come all the way back up. Right leg is gonna extend. Plant that right arm and then reach your arm overhead. A little different of a stretch here. And then you can do this on your forearm and knee as well if you need. I'm gonna be on my hand. You're gonna bring your right hand behind your head. Foot can be lifted or on the floor, your choice. Staying nice and square with the hips, you're gonna rotate the torso, just the upper body. Look at your hand, and then rotate back to the center. And then rotate the torso down, and leg is staying nice and still, hips nice and square. 2 more. Last one. Pause here. And then plant your right foot down and then lift your left leg up to meet your right leg. And then lower it down and lift. Hand can be extended or behind your head, your choice. 4 more. 3, 2. Last one, lower that leg, reach through the right arm, press down, side bend up and over that right leg. 1 more time. And then switch sides. So left leg extends, reach the right arm down, and then reach that left arm overhead. If your arms or legs are shaking, mine are too. And then bring that hand behind your head. Leg can be lifted or resting. And you can be on your forearms if you want. Rotate just through the upper body. Think that someone is standing there holding onto your hip bone from behind. 3 more. This should feel good on the upper body. It makes it challenging on the lower body. Last one. Plant that left leg down, lift the right. Again, your right leg, or right arm rather, is not hyperextending. Think about lifting through your pelvic floor, drawing that inner thigh up and in. Lift the leg. Last one. Plant that leg down, lift through the left arm and side bend up and over. We're gonna come back down on that left side. Hand behind your head, you have 4 or more. Just the rotation. 2. Last one. Plant that left leg, right leg lifts for 5. 4, 3. Last one. Up and over to the other side. Hand plants, right hand behind your head, lift through the right leg if you're choosing to do so, and rotate for 3. 2, right hip is stable. Last one, plant the right leg, lift the left for 4, for 5 rather. 4. 3, hips are stable. 2. Last one, lower that leg down, come all the way up. And then tuck your tailbone under a little, and then just reach your arms back behind, or bring them in front of you, doesn't really matter. Just getting a stretch through the front of those thighs, ribs and hips are drawn towards one another. And then come all the way up. And then take a seat on your mat. You can sit however is comfortable for you. I'm gonna sit with my legs crossed for a little interlude song, if you will. Bring your hands behind your head, just like we did at the beginning of class, sitting up nice and tall. Ribs are connected toward your hips and front of your body. Back ribs are lifted slightly. And just twist over your left leg. Knees stay nice and still. Come back to the center. And switch. Your shoulders are totally relaxed. And just notice if maybe you twist a little bit farther now. And then from here, if your legs are crossed, you can extend them out in front of you. I'm gonna keep mine extremely bent. Arms are long, and I'm just gonna round up and over like I'm rounding over a beach ball. My shoulder blades still stay flat on my back. And then stack your spine all the way back up. If you're sitting against the wall and you're peeling away from that wall, 1 vertebrae at a time, so the low back doesn't leave that imaginary wall. Stack your spine back up. Last one. And then come all the way up. Grab onto the backs of your thighs, bend your knees if they're not yet bent, and then just lift yourself up a little, and then move, literally move the flesh of your butt out of the way. So you are truly seated, rooted on your sitting bone. And then reach your arms out wide, bring your legs as wide as your mat, and then rotate to one side, and then you're gonna hinge and reach. Think about keeping those sitting bones rooted towards the floor, and then stack your spine up, and then twist. Reach, and then stack and untwist towards the center. Lift again. You can have a little rotation of your back arm if you choose. Think about sawing off the outside pinky of the opposite one. Last one to each side. Good. Bring your legs back to be hip distance. They can be planted or long, doesn't matter. Sitting up nice and tall, you're just gonna round halfway back, creating that space with your thighs, and then rotate to the right, to the center, and center, to the left, and center. Once more to the right, and then roll all the way up. You're gonna roll back again. Roll or round over to the left, and then lift up to the left and lower to the left. Again, your legs can be bent or straight. Move them as you go over to the right. Lift and lower. Left ribs are drawing towards your right hips. 3 more. 2. Last one, come to the center, roll all the way back down. Plant your feet on the ground, hands come behind your head. Neutral or pelvic tilt, your choice, but stick with one. And then slide your ribs towards your hips and lift the torso. And lower back down. We will be here on our backs for the entirety of this song and one more after. Pressing your head back into your hand. And hands into your head. Elbows are nice and wide, but in your periphery. Last one. Bring your right leg into, or left leg rather, into tabletop. Or stepping over towards the left leg. You can stay lifted, or you can go all the way back down. Full range of motion, your choice. 1 more. Last one. Twist and pause. Extend the leg, and then rotate towards the center and bring it in. Twist and extend. If you're doing this in the opposite way that I am, you're twisting and bending at the same time. Cool. Doesn't matter. Hips are square. 2 more. Last one. Lower that left leg down. Back to your ab preps here. Going at your own pace, but still moving. Make sure that your abs haven't started puffing up towards the ceiling exclusively. Make sure you're moving. Last one, bring the left leg up in the tabletop and rotate up and over. Left rib towards your right hips. Left leg is totally still, releasing easy in your pelvis. Last one, twist and pause, extend, bend it in and bend it. As you extend and bend that leg. Last one. Lower that leg back to your ab preps. 1 more. 3. Last one. Legs come into tabletop, and now you're going to go into a full crisscross. Alternating right leg, rotating up and over towards your opposite leg. 1 more. 2. Last one, pause here. Now you're going to start a bicycle. So your head can be lifted or not. Bicycling those legs. Range of motion is as big as works for you. Reverse. 1 more. 2. Last one. Plant those legs down. Back to your ab preps last time. Last one. Extend your legs, reach your arms overhead. Give your abdominals a lovely stretch. And then plant your feet back on the ground. And you're going to curl yourself up. Take a second to get up into your bridge. Really articulate through the low back. Getting a nice stretch. And then pause in your bridge, wherever height is comfortable for you. We're going to go into single leg bridging. So before we lift any leg, make sure your heels are drawing up towards your shoulders, the backs of your legs are nice and engaged, your glutes as well. And you're just going to start with a hip hinge, alternating one side and then the other. Only lift your leg as high as is comfortable. And your hips can also be about an inch off the ground or on the ground. It doesn't matter. Just trying to aim for stability here. And ease of movement through the leg that is working. Pause with that right leg in tabletop. We're going to extend it long and bend it in. Keeping those hips nice and square. Ribs drawing towards the hips. 3 more. Make sure that left leg is staying in line with your left hip. 2 more. Last one. Lower that right leg, left leg lifts. think that you're resisting moving that left leg, doing a little bit more work to the back of your leg and not just having your quad do all the work. 3 more. Not 3, sorry. Like 10 on the other side. 2 more. Last one. That leg extended. Bring it out to the side on a little diagonal and squeeze it back into the center. Little diagonal, back to the center. 3 more. 2. Deep breath. Pelvic floor. Last one. Lower that leg, right leg extend. Same thing, out to the diagonal and back in. Hips are square, last one. Lower that right leg back to your marches. And if the marching is too much, just alternate one heel lifts and then the other. You can also take a rest and drop your hips at any point. Make sure your feet aren't starting to slide away from you. Heels are still energized towards your shoulders. Pause with that right leg up. Bend your left arm. Reach opposite arm, opposite leg. 3 more. Last one. Switch. Right arm, left leg. 4 more. 3, 2. Last one. Plant the arms, point the legs, and now both feet. And just lift the hips up. If you would like, reach your arms back overhead and then peel down one vertebrae at a time, increasing your stretch. I have to at some point lift my arms unless I can get my back down. And then bring your knees into your chest and roll yourself up and come to sit, excuse me, on your left side. You're gonna be on your forearm and your heels are gonna be in line with your butt. Your knees are bent out in front of you and you're just gonna do a little clamshell. So your body is lifting away from the floor. You're supported through that whole left side. Clamshell and away, hips stay facing front. Last one, keep it lifted and then add a kick. And then bend the leg, clamshell, it open, pause, kick. Again, keeping yourself square as possible. Last one, keep that leg lifted and then circles here. You can lay down all the way onto that left side if you would like. Hard here to keep yourself lifted. You grab onto that right side or left side if you need. Reverse your circle. Ribs are connected towards your hips. You're not arching through the back. 2. Last one, bend the knee in and extend. Bend in. 5. Last one. Keep it extended long, reach it back behind you, flex through the foot, bring it forward, point, and push it back. I find reaching through my heel as I come forward and my toes as I stay back very helpful for me to get the back of my leg working in both directions. Use that left leg to help stabilize. Last one. And then rest yourself all the way up, and we're going to switch sides. We will not come back to it. This is a one and done. Keep lifted and start your bend. Again, you're lifted, pressing through that right arm. Hips are square. Three more. Last one, keep that leg open and kick. Bend, clamshell. Ribs are still connected. Your abs are engaged. 3, 2. Last one. And then lower down, extend your leg long and start to do your circles. And this is where I start to melt. So I'm coming down onto my side. 3, 2. Last one, reverse your direction. Ribs are drawn in towards your hips. Your pelvic floor is engaged. 3 more. 2. Last one. Bend that knee in and extend. 5 more. 4. 3. 2. Last one. Keep it extended. Flex and sweep it forward. Point and bring it back. And flex. And back. Flex. And back. 3 more. We are on the home stretch. 3 more songs, including this one. Last one. And then head onto your back. Head can be down or lifted, your choice. I'm going to keep my head down. Bring your legs into tabletop. Lower your right leg down towards the floor and then bring it back up. You want to keep the shape of your leg the same as you lower and lift. If you can be in neutral, highlight and bring my hands behind my head. You can be neutral often if you can't. Don't be neutral. But whatever you pick, stick with it as always. And think about lengthening through the front of that thigh to extend your leg away from you. Your toe doesn't need to touch the floor despite it being called toe tap. Once more to each side. Extend your arms, lower your head if it's lifted, right arm, left leg. Alternating sides. Back ribs are pressing into the floor. Last one each side. Grab on behind the thighs. Lift your head. Press your hands into, or thighs into your hands. Lift yourself up into a supported teaser. Legs extend. Bend the legs, bend the arms, roll back. Press the thighs into the hands. Lift yourself up. Straighten your legs as much as works for you. And then think rolling like a ball to the back. Nice and simple. One more time like this. And back down. Arms and legs lift, opposite arm, opposite leg. Finding that connection, that little X across the front of your body. Clearly you've done in every plane today. One more time to the right. Last time to the left. Hands behind the thighs. Lift the head, press the thighs into the hands. Ribs are connected towards your feet. Extend the arms this time. Lower yourself all the way down, bring the knees into the chest. Hands behind the thighs. Lift yourself up into that teaser. Keep the support if you need. If your legs are shaking, cool, me too. Extend your arms. Slowly lower yourself, round back, draw your knees into your chest. One more time like this. Extend your arms. Now lower all the way down, arms and legs together. Overhead. If you'd like to join me for a full teaser, cool. Arms press down, low back extends into the mat. If not, hands are behind your thighs and you're doing what we just did. Feel the head, neck, and shoulders. Lift the toes, low back presses into the floor, and reach your fingertips up your legs, if you will. And then lower all the way back down. Nice and slowly. Reach your arms up overhead. And then roll yourself up and come over into all fours. This is very important. You can do all of this on your forearms, or you can be on your knees and hands. Just do what works for you. You can modify this in about 100 ways. I'll alternate between what I'm doing. So, hands underneath your shoulders, right leg presses back, curl your low back under, ribs connect towards your hips. Low back is nice and lengthened. Lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Come back down into your plank. Abdominals lift away from the floor. You're going back and forth, lifting from the hips like someone's pulling your hips up and back. Chest presses towards the floor. Use your whole hands. 3 more. And again, you can do this on your knees, into a child's pose, and then a kneeling plank. Last one. Pause here. Bend the right knee, bend the left. And if you stay, it's easier. 4 more. And again, this can be done on the forearms. Hips will be lifted a little if you're on your forearms, that's fine. 3 more. Last one. Lift the hips up. Take a second to reset yourself. And then you're gonna start to walk your feet in and out. Again, this can be done on the forearms or even on your knees, where your knees will walk, not your feet. 3 more. Last one. Mountain climbers. You can go as fast or as slow as you like. I absolutely hate mountain climbers quickly. Like the entire contents of the day that I've eaten just like bounces around in my stomach. Neck is nice and long. 2 more to each side. Last one. Drop to your knees, press back onto your hip heels. We're going to repeat all of that again. Curl those toes under, lift the hips. Back into your plank. And lift your plank. 3 more. 2. Last one. Bend knee. 4 more. 2. Last one. Walking the feet. 2. Last one. And then bring those knees in for your mountain climber. Neck is long. Abs are away from the floor. Ribs are connected toward your hips. 2 more. Last one. Drop to your knees. Press back into a child's pose. Take a big breath. Last time. Curl those toes under, lift your hips. Back to your plank. Get it. Back to your plank. 2 more. Last one. And then walk yourself back. Bend your knees. Let your head hang here. Draw your ribs toward your hips. Curl your tailbone under. Let your arms hang. Let your head hang as you peel yourself up 1 vertebrae at a time. Lift the arms up overhead. Press the arms down. Roll yourself out. Or roll yourself down, not out. And then walk yourself back out. Into a plank. You're going to drop your knees. And then find a nice plank on your knees. Soften your elbows so they're not hyperextended. Ribs are drawing up toward your hips are drawing up toward your ribs. Neck is long. Lower yourself down, pressing through your whole hand. Elbows back behind you. Press up. We're going to do 8 push-ups, so you have 7 more. Neck is long. Think that your neck reaches away from your hands or your tailbone. 4 more. Breathe on the out. If you go down an inch or 8 inches, it doesn't matter, it's a push-up. Last one. Good. Tuck your toes under, find your plank, bring your right hand in between your feet. Lower that left knee. Lift yourself up just like we did in the previous class. No more planks or push-ups, I promise. Ribs are connected toward your hips. Low back or pelvis is pressing forward, tailbone tucked under, getting a stretch to that left leg. Plant your hands, tuck your left toes under, and reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Feel your right hip come back underneath you. And then plant your right hand down, lower your left knee again, and then come back over that left leg. You can sit down. Keep your knee and toes on the right leg are pointing up for your hamstring stretch. Lengthen through the spine as best you can. And then come forward. We're going to switch legs. The left leg forward now. Right knee on the ground. Energize between, like you're going to wrinkle your mat. And then come all the way up. And then plant the hands. Tuck the right toes under. Really lengthen through the front of that leg. Feel your left hip come underneath you, and then reach up and open with that left arm. press through your whole right hand to help you. Lower that arm down, lower your left leg, your right leg, and then flex with the left. Lengthening through the spine so you're not collapsing. And then walk yourself forward. Walk yourself back. Hang for a moment. Then slowly peel yourself up, one vertebrae at a time. Good. Grab onto anything nearby if you need. And you're going to grab your left foot, left ankle, I guess, in your left hand. And then tuck your tailbone under and feel your knees in line with one another. Getting a stretch through that left quad again. You can reach your right arm up if your balance is being timed today. And then bring that left ankle across your right leg. And then keep your chest lifted, but sit back until you start to get that stretch in the outside. Hold on to somebody. Ribs are still connected towards your hips here. And then stand all the way up, switching sides. So right thigh, right wrist, right ankle in your right hand. Lift that left arm if you'd like. Feel those hips press forward and up towards your ribs. And then bring that ankle around. And then again, chest is nice and tall. Hip in the front of your body. And then stand all the way up. Plant your feet down, shift your weight forward and back onto your feet. And then find a spot where your legs are nice and firmly planted underneath you. Your knees are nice and soft. Reach your arms up overhead. Feel your neck grow long. Lift your ribs away from your hips. Take a nice stretch. And then find your ribs and hips connected. Externally rotate your arms. Give yourself some space. And then press